He was so abusive, sexually abusive. And every time I attempted to tell my mom, he would say, I would tell my brother or my mother, then they will chase you out.
So how old were you at the time?
I was around 7, 8. Before my mother passed on, she sat me down. She said to me, I'm about to die.
What happened to your mom?
And he said to me, you know what, 3 months is way too long. You are just like the baby still alive because you didn't do that. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. If the baby dies, it's okay.
Hey guys, and welcome to Centtwinz TV. This is I've Been Through the Most podcast right here on our channel, and we are delighted to bring you yet another exciting episode.
Exciting episode, of course, means sometimes a lot of drama, but a lot of truth to our guest stories. But it comes with a lot of inspiration as well, and hope. So we hope that today's episode will bring you exactly that. We have an incredible woman in studio today, and she's here to share her story. Hello there, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Basani, can you just introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, my name is Basani Hlungwani. I was born and bred in Guyana. I'm 30 years old. The only child from my mom. My mother passed on when I was 9 years old. So my mother had me out of wedlock, and her mother had her out of wedlock. I think that could be one of the reasons why she was not raised by her mom. So, like I said, my mother passed on when I was 9. I had to stay with my mother's grandmother, who was old by then. And then when she also passed on, my mother's aunt, Mam Kulu, had to take over from raising me. And then that's just how it went. But then in staying with my grandmother, my mother's aunt, we didn't really have much of a good relationship with my uncle. He just didn't want me for no reason. He used to say, you have to go and find your dad. So, at home, usually during weekends, our grandmother would go for a funeral or whatever and come back maybe Sunday late. I knew that within that time, my uncle would chase me out and say, you have to go and look for your dad. If he doesn't chase me out, he would hide food. So I knew for the whole weekend, I would not have food unless if I go and ask food from my neighbors or whatsoever. But before we get to my grandmother's story, my mother was married again. So my stepfather's little brother, he was so abusive, sexually abusive. And every time I attempted to tell my mom, he would say, I would tell my brother or my mother, then they will chase you out because you know that this is not your house. But because I was a child and I wanted to have a home so bad, I couldn't tell my mom.
So wait, so how old were you at the time, and how old was this stepbrother?
I'm not
It's
sure.
A stepbrother, right?
No, he's my father. Let me just say my father's little brother. So he's an uncle.
Okay.
So he was a bit old. I don't know how old, but he was older than me. And I was
in his 20s?
Maybe.
Okay.
And you younger than 9?
I was
because
like
your mom
7,
passed away
7,
at 9.
8.
Sure.
I was around 7, 8 when he started doing these things. So when my mother passed on, I was like, at least I don't have to go to that house again. Little did I know that the grandmother will pass on. Now I have to go and live with my mother's aunt, and the uncle didn't want me.
So did you ever get an opportunity to tell your mom about
this
what
is
your
the
uncle...
first time I'm talking about it. My family doesn't know. Only my friends know.
So your mom passed and she didn't know what you went through?
I didn't. Because he said to me, if you tell her, then just know that they will chase you out. And I knew we had nowhere to go.
Okay, take us through the abuse and how it started, the sexual abuse. What was happening? Were you from school? Were you at home?
At home.
Where did it happen and what happened?
At home, usually we don't have a lot of rooms, so we share. So I was sharing a room with him. With him. So he would do that every day. And I tried to complain. He would say, you should never, ever talk about this. So to me, I think he knew what he was doing. He knew. And he knew I don't know what he's doing, but I knew it was wrong because he would say, you should never, ever speak about this to anyone. You should never.
And how long did it go on for? Did he molest you? Did he rape you?
He did rape me.
Sure.
And she is so young. I think when you are 8,
I'm so sorry about that.
You are a baby, and
literally,
of course, when you're that age, you take a threat for a threat. So if somebody threatens you and says, listen, we're going to kick you out, Yeah,
it's a threat.
you believe it. You believe it, and you feel fearful, and you not only have to live with the abuse, but you also have to live with the fear from the threat. And you still had to sleep with him.
I still had to sleep with him.
Because obviously you're not saying anything. So the thought of going to bed for you was horror and trauma.
Yeah. But I had to. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't go to my father's place. I couldn't go to my grandmother's place because we were just not talking. She was just not part of the picture. She has never been part of the picture.
And your mom, did she not see any signs that something was
wrong? She never saw anything. I don't know.
So for them, it's like the kids are sleeping in one room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it. She never saw anything until she passed on. Well, like, it happened for like 2 years. So I don't know if I should say luckily she passed on. I don't know.
Do you know, it's yeah, I think it's a very difficult place to be in because you want to be sad for your mom's passing, but at the same time, you're like, finally the abuse stops.
Yeah.
I get to move away from this place.
But then remember, that was physical abuse, which I think, I don't know if I should say I somehow managed to overcome. But if there's one thing that really hurts me the most is the emotional abuse.
Yes.
You know, when you know that you don't have anywhere to go. That is like when someone says, go and look for your dad. I knew for a fact that my dad doesn't want me. We stay in the same village. He never tried to look for me after my mother's funeral.
And so, he knew?
He knew. He knew.
Why was he married? Why did he not want to look after you, find you?
The first time I spoke to him and I asked him, why did you neglect me? He said to me, I'm married and my wife would never approve this. But then I looked for a wife and I asked, this is what is happening. I am your daughter's husband. And this is what he told me. And she said, I don't know anything about that. Apparently we have a good relationship with the wife now. We do talk.
So that means that was his choice.
It was his choice.
And you still don't have a relationship with your father now?
I still don't have a relationship with him.
Yeah, because I was about to, to be upset at the fact that I don't get why people who get married after they've had children now want to act like they don't have children when they're with their new partner. And it's like, why are you acting like you don't have a child? Getting into the marriage, you should be open about, I have a child. If this person decides to marry you, they know you have a child. So the child should never be an issue. I mean, we think it's common sense, but unfortunately, that is not the case. So if the wife says, now, I don't have a problem, it's like so painful to know that your own father is intentionally neglecting you.
Yeah, he knew. I think the wife from the get-go knew that he's got a daughter. Because the first time I tried to look for him, I was 18.
So all these years after your mom passed away, you are 9 years old. So 11 years goes by. What is happening to you? You moving from your grandmother's house, great-grandmother, you staying with the other uncle that didn't want you. And then you finally say, okay, I think I need to look for my father.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about this whole thing, before my mother passed on, she never said to me, she sat me down actually 2 months, it was around August 2001. She sat me down, she said to me, I'm about to die. And when I die, go to church. Actually, she said, go to Sunday school. They will teach you about God.
Yeah. Sure.
And when you need anything, just ask for me. That's what she said.
Wow.
She never said go to my mom. No. She never said go to your father. She said go to church.
Sure.
And since then, church was the only place I felt like I belong. It was the only place. It was the only place. I felt like I have a home. Every time I go to church, I thought maybe I'll see her there. I kept going to church thinking, because the funeral was at church. I thought, okay, no, it's fine. It means that I will find my mother there. Because that was the last place I saw her. Okay. So I kept going to church thinking, okay, maybe one day I'll find my mom. So I went to Sunday school. I kept going to church. Years went by. I go to church. I don't find my mom. There were days where I would go to church. Not in a Sunday service. I would just go to church. And I would think, my mother would be there. I remember the first time my uncle chased me out, I went to church. I went to church. I was like, I'm looking for my mom. Remember, I didn't know how to pray. I was young. I didn't know how to pray. But then because she told me you have to go to church and they will teach you about this man. His name is God. If you ever need anything, he will give you. Literally the last conversation we had, because it was around August, and since then she just got worse. She was admitted. The last time I spoke with my mom, she said to me, I'm dying. All these ups and downs taking me to the hospitals, it's going to go to waste. But don't tell your grandmother, the mother-in-law, because she's the one who was responsible for her. She said, I'm dying. And when I die, I'm going to go to heaven. But if you want to see me again, you need to go to church. You need to go to church. If you ever need anything, God will give you. At church, they will teach you about this man. He's called God. He will provide for you. It didn't make sense to me because I've never seen God.
Literal.
So
I will see you at church.
Yes. And the funeral was at church. And I was like, okay, now my mother passed on, like she said.
Yeah.
I continued to go to church because that's where she said I should go. And trust me, when things got worse, church was the only place I could. Church is still the only place I feel like I belong.
Yeah.
Because that's where she said I should go.
Yes.
But I didn't just find a man who. I didn't just go to church. Literally, I agree it was a fact of, okay, I want to see my mom. I was going to church hoping that I will see my mom, hoping that I would get her waiting for me. I thought church is heaven because she said we'll meet in heaven, and the funeral was there. So I went to church thinking, okay, no, it's fine. I'll see my mom. I didn't see my mom. I met God, and he's been so good to me. He's been so good. I don't know how I survived the years from not working until today. But God has been so good. He has been so good. Okay, after I came this side, I made a vow to myself and I said, you know what? I've been abused so bad. I would only come back home if it's important. Yeah. I remember telling my uncle the last time he chased me and I said to him, I'm going to be rich. I know I'm smart. Yes. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be successful. And I promise you, I'll never come back to your mother's house. And I was 17. That was the last time I spoke to him.
Because your experiences were so bad.
It was so bad.
Tell me something, Basani. What happened to your mom? Was she sick?
She was sick, I think, before my mom passed, I had a little sister. She passed on. Then I had a little brother. He was premature. He passed on. Then
what happened to your little sister?
I was young, at home, they don't really tell us these things. Okay. Even my mother's passing, no one told me about it. I just saw up and down, going up and down. No one told me about it. Yeah. So she passed on. She was sick for like 2 years. And she passed on after that. No one told me she's gone. They were just busy doing their things. After the funeral, no one bothered to come back and ask me, how are you? Are you well? Because I think...
that's sad.
So
because that's the trauma that I think you live with, and that's the memory that you have of your mom departing. Everyone just pretending like you don't exist.
So she didn't even have counseling after that. Nobody spoke to you.
And closure of what is happening.
No one. No one. Not even one person came to ask, are you okay? When I was not working, no one even came to ask, what are you eating? Are you well? Who's paying your rent?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just being black people or it's a family thing, but no one came to ask. As for my grandmother, I don't know if she never healed as well, but she just never asked. I can say maybe we spoke less than 5 times ever since my mother passed on, and that was 22 years ago.
Whew. Okay. Do you have any siblings now?
I'm the only child.
So you come this side to Joburg, so you look for work and you go to varsity?
I looked for work. I worked as a cashier. I worked as a sales promoter. I worked for quite some few companies. Then 2018, I applied to study. Then I got the NSFAS thing. Then it paid for my studies.
Oh, awesome.
Then I did the most stupid thing a Christian lady can ever do. I felt pregnant. I had a baby. So 3 months after, I broke up with the father of my child before I even knew I was pregnant.
Okay.
So, but then I told him, this is the thing. And he was like, no, you know what, it's fine. We're going to co-parent. Okay, the baby was born. After exactly the day the baby was born, I told him, I have a baby. And he said, you know what, I will call you, don't call me. We will only talk when I call you. I was like, okay, no, it's fine. Then he called me after 3 months. And he said to me, I want to come to your place with these grannies from my village so they can do Shinhlokwane. I don't know what they call it in English. You know, this initiation thing.
Okay.
And I'm like...
So this person didn't see you when you were pregnant? Didn't see the baby when they were born?
Didn't take care of
3
you?
months later, they want to go and
initiate the baby.
initiate the baby.
And I said, no, I don't think God can ever give me an incomplete baby. She's perfectly fine. She's going to grow. She doesn't need all those things you're talking about. And he said to me, you know what, 3 months is way too long. You are just lucky the baby is still alive because you didn't do that. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. If the baby dies, it's okay. I'm grateful for whatever month he's given me with her. But other than that, I'm not gonna do it. And he said to me, okay, no, it's fine. If you don't do it, then no, I'm not going to be part of her life. It means she's not my child.
And did that actually happen?
It did.
He didn't raise her at all?
No, he didn't.
Just because you refused?
That's just because I refused.
For the child to
I
be
don't even think
initiated.
because she refused. I think he was just not involved anyway.
I think so, yeah.
You know, from the beginning. Because for me, if you just call for that, I think even after that, he was probably going to continue. But I mean, we can't predict that. We are not God. But let's talk about the fact that you registered for a bursary, right? The NFSS. So you got the bursary. So now that you're pregnant, does it then affect your bursary?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
It's long distance. It's UNISA. So I started from home. So it didn't affect anything. I had to go through the studies.
With the baby.
With the baby. I think actually that was one reason for me to make sure that I pass. Because I'm like, it's not just me now. There's a baby coming. Now I have to make sure that I pass so I can get a good job. So I can give her a home so she doesn't have to go through what I went through because she needs shelter. You understand? So they gave me the next first thing, then I continued with my studies.
Was it not hard with a small baby? Did you have help?
I didn't. I remember she was born on the 5th of June.
Ooh, winter baby. Oh.
Then 5 days later, I had an exam. I had an exam. There were days
5 days after you gave birth?
Yes, I had an exam.
Yeah.
There were days where I had to carry her and study. There were days where I had to, it was just bad. I had to carry her to be able to study. I had to carry her to write my exams. The exams that I missed because she was sick and I just didn't have anywhere to take her. And you know, when a baby is sick, you can't just say, I need 3 hours to write. I'm going to carry her on my back. It's hardly possible. It's impossible. So the exams that I missed because she was sick, but I had to just press on. I had to press on. If it meant that I had to study the whole night, I had to do that because mostly at night she's sleeping.
Anyway, you know, babies, like their sleeping patterns are like awkward. So I think you were awake.
Would know.
You are awake most of the time, so at least you could have time to study. But I mean, it doesn't make it easier.
And because I can remember, it's Caesar. I gave birth through Caesar.
You have to heal.
So it was difficult for me to carry her from the bed and put her when I have to breastfeed. So I had to make sure that she sleeps on my chest. So my baby got used to sleeping on my chest.
Oh no, that's the worst part because now you always have to carry them.
So now she's 3 now, she still sleeps on my chest. Yeah, she still sleeps on my chest. So she got used to that. So it was so difficult to put her down if I have to study. It's either she's on my chest, the laptop is here.
She's gotta be here.
Yes, because it was easy to just breastfeed. My hands were not properly working after giving birth. I think it's because of those things they put us, the injections. So they were not working properly. So I had to make sure she's anywhere close where it's gonna be just easy to just, you know, because I started giving her food when she was 6 months. So the whole other 6 months I was breastfeeding. So it has to be somewhere here. So for these 3 years, she's been sleeping on my chest.
Oh.
But
So did you complete your studies?
yes, I graduated this year.
Well done. Congratulations.
I was waiting
Are
for
you
this
happy?
victory story.
You don't look happy.
It was. I am happy, but on I had no one to come for my graduation.
Oh.
Because
Did you send your uncle an SMS?
I told my family I'm graduating. Okay,
Yeah.
not literally no one, because my pastor showed up. Thank God for him.
But you mean your family,
My
your blood
family.
family?
Direct
Yes.
family.
Did you invite them?
I did.
They just decided not to come.
They just decided not to come.
But you still graduated anyway.
I still graduated anyway.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
And
Well done.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And how is it being in the job market before we close? Where are you now? Have you found work? How's your baby now? Have you guys settled in? Where are you staying? Are you in a relationship? What's happening?
Well, I found my pastor helped me to find a job. It's not what I studied, but it's paying the bills, and the baby is able to go to school. We're able to pay rent, and I think shelter is one of the most important things that I value the most. If there's one thing that I want, is shelter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, relationship. No.
Not
No.
now.
Not now.
No. Nah.
But you're in a good space.
I am in a good space.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that matters the most right now is that I have shelter.
Yeah.
I don't have to bother anyone. Because before I got a job, I think the week before I got a job, I was literally looking for a shelter around Gauteng. I couldn't get it. I was looking for a shelter. I couldn't get
Just
it.
to have a roof over your
Just
head.
to have a roof.
Something that people take for granted every day.
Because I thought going back home, which home am I going back to?
It's not an
To
option.
whom?
It wasn't an option.
It was not an option at all. Last time I went home, my uncle's wife hidden food for me. She had to heat food for me. And I had a newborn. So when I was like,
You have to eat to
If
breastfeed.
I have to eat to breastfeed. Now these people are hiding food. If I go back home, they're going to be doing this to my child. I'd rather go to a shelter. I'd rather go to the streets. The woman who raised me, my grandmother, she called me. She said, come back home. I was like, I'm not coming back. You know what's going on there. I'd rather be a street kid or whatever. I'd rather stay in the streets. I am not coming back. I'm not.
Sure, I pray that your family finds some sort of peace within themselves to be able to do you better and to do good for you and your daughter, because you deserve it. I really hope so. I really pray so. And I think continue praying for them. You're a woman of faith.
Yes.
Continue praying for them. Don't give up on them. And I wish you and your daughter a lot of happiness. And I hope that one day she has a beautiful relationship with her father as well, because you didn't have a good relationship with your father. I pray that at least she can have a relationship with her father. We can only pray and hope at this point, and not give up on that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that place where you found peace and found love, that place where your mom directed you to,
Yes.
which is church. I hope you never even let go of that.
It's not even an option.
It's not an option. It's not an option. Yo, that was Basani's story. Such an inspirational story. I think against all odds. Today she's got a shelter. Today she's a graduate. Today she's got a beautiful daughter. She's got a shelter over her head, and she is working hard to make sure that she has cemented the future for her and her daughter. And I believe that God is going to bless you in abundance. I do.
Thank you so
I do.
much. We wish you nothing but the best. May God continue to bless you, and come back to continue testifying of his goodness on the show. Well, we've come to the end of the show. I just want to thank you so much for watching or for listening. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or you're watching here on YouTube, do the right thing. Comment, like, and share.
Make sure you subscribe. Remember, guys, this is road to 200K subscribers. We are so excited. And through you, everyone who is watching, we can do it together as a family. From myself, Innocent.
And myself, Millicent, and our lovely guest, Basani, is bye for now.